It's 2025, and the largest trade war in modern history is unfolding right now, not with bullets or bombs, but with tariffs. And while politicians celebrate protecting American jobs, there's a silent casualty no one's talking about. Solar panels are sitting in warehouses, unsold. Wind turbine projects are being canceled. Electric vehicle prices are skyrocketing. The renewable energy revolution? It's stalling. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the trade shock that's quietly killing the green dream and what it means for your wallet, your future, and the planet. Let's break it down. First, tariffs are taxes on imported goods. Simple enough. But in 2025, tariff wars have exploded across the globe between the US, China, Europe, and emerging economies. Why? Because renewables depend on global supply chains. Solar panels, most are made in China. Wind turbines, components come from Germany, Denmark, Vietnam. Lithium batteries, built with minerals from Chile, Congo, Argentina. The green energy boom wasn't just about innovation, it was about cheap, efficient, global production. But now, governments are slapping tariffs on clean energy imports to protect domestic industries. The U.S. raises tariffs on Chinese solar panels by 40%. China retaliates with tariffs on American tech. Europe adds duties on battery imports. Suddenly, the cost of going green just doubled. And here's the kicker. Most countries don't have the infrastructure to produce these technologies domestically. Not yet. So what happens when the world's renewable supply chain grinds to a halt? That's what we're unpacking today. Now, most people assume tariffs are just a temporary hiccup. Prices go up for a bit, then settle down. The market adapts. No big deal. After all, tariffs are supposed to protect jobs, right? Bring manufacturing back home, make industry stronger. That's the promise. But here's what's not being said on the evening news. Tariffs don't create industries overnight. They disrupt them. And when it comes to renewables, disruption means delay. Delay means fossil fuels stay dominant. And that changes everything. But here's the truth most people miss. Tariff wars don't just slow down renewable energy, they actively make fossil fuels more competitive again. Think about it. When solar panels cost 40% more because of tariffs, what do energy companies do? They stick with coal and natural gas. It's cheaper, it's easier, it's already built. When wind projects get delayed because turbine parts are stuck in customs or priced out of reach, investors pull funding. They pivot to oil and gas pipelines instead. This isn't theory. It's happening right now. And the longer tariffs stay in place, the more the renewable dream slips away. Not because the technology failed, but because the economics was sabotaged. We'll come back to how this plays out globally in just a second. But first, let's look at the proof. History has shown us this pattern before. In 2018, the U.S. imposed tariffs on imported solar panels. The goal? Boost American manufacturing. The result? Solar installations dropped by 11% the following year. Thousands of U.S. solar jobs were lost, not gained. Prices spiked, projects were canceled. Why? Because 80% of solar panels were imported. There wasn't enough domestic capacity to replace them. Fast forward to 2025. Same playbook, bigger scale. China has responded to Western tariffs by restricting exports of rare earth minerals, critical for wind turbines and EV batteries. Europe is scrambling. The U.S. is paying premium prices. Meanwhile, India and Southeast Asia are trying to ramp up production, but they can't scale fast enough. The global renewable supply chain isn't just slowing, it's fracturing. And here's what no one's saying out loud. Fossil fuel industries are watching this unfold with champagne in hand, because every year renewables are delayed is another year oil and gas stay dominant. So, what does this mean for the average person? Let's start with what you'll feel first, prices. If you're thinking about installing solar panels on your roof, that just got 30 to 50% more expensive in many regions. Want to buy an electric vehicle? Tariffs on battery imports have pushed EV prices up thousands of dollars. Utility companies are delaying clean energy projects and passing the costs on to consumers. Your electricity bill is rising. And here's the cruel irony. The people who can least afford it are hit hardest. Wealthier households can still invest in solar or EVs despite the higher prices. But middle and lower income families? Priced out. The energy transition was supposed to democratize access to clean power. Tariffs are turning it into a luxury good. But that's just the surface level impact. The real damage is much deeper. Because while consumers are paying more, entire industries are quietly collapsing behind the scenes. Let me show you. Renewable energy isn't just an industry, it's an ecosystem. When tariffs hit, the entire chain reacts. Manufacturers can't get materials, projects get delayed, workers are laid off, investors pull funding, innovation slows, startups go bankrupt. In the U.S. alone, analysts estimate over 100,000 clean energy jobs could be at risk by 2026 if tariff policies continue. Globally, millions. And here's where it gets darker. Developing nations that were banking on cheap renewable imports to leapfrog fossil fuels, stuck. They can't afford the higher prices, so they're forced back to coal, oil, and gas. Countries like Kenya, Vietnam, Bangladesh, they were making real progress towards clean energy. Now, stalled. The climate crisis doesn't pause for trade wars, but the solutions, they're being strangled by them. And yet, despite all this chaos, there's one group that always finds a way to profit, and it's not who you think. So who actually benefits from tariff wars killing renewables? Fossil fuel companies. When renewables stall, oil and gas fill the gap. Demand stays high, prices stabilize, profits soar. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Many of these companies have lobbied for tariffs, not openly, but through industry groups, political donations, and quiet backroom influence. Why? Because they know every year renewables are delayed is another year of dominance for fossil fuels. But there's another winner. Countries that control rare materials. China holds 70% of the world's rare earth processing capacity. When tariffs escalate, they restrict exports. Prices skyrocket. They leverage energy as geopolitical power. This isn't just economics, it's strategy. And the West is losing. Meanwhile, everyday people are caught in the crossfire, paying more, breathing dirtier air, and watching the climate clock tick down. But here's the twist. This doesn't have to be permanent. There's a way out, and it starts with understanding what happens next. So what comes after the chaos? History tells us adaptation. Some countries will double down on domestic manufacturing. The U.S. is investing in chip factories and battery plants. Europe is ramping up wind turbine production. But here's the reality. It takes 5 to 10 years to build that capacity. And climate goals don't have that kind of time. Others will form new alliances, trade blocs that exclude high tariff nations, regional supply chains that cut out the middleman. And some will abandon the green transition altogether and bet on fossil fuels for another generation. The outcome depends on political will, public pressure, and economic incentives. The question isn't whether renewables will survive. They will. The question is how long this setback lasts and how much damage is done in the meantime. Because every year we delay is a year we can't get back. What does all this mean? Tariff wars aren't just about trade. They're about the future of energy, the future of jobs, and the future of the planet. Right now, in 2025, the renewable dream is under attack. Not by technology failure, but by political choices. Solar panels sit in warehouses, wind turbines gather dust, electric vehicles are priced out of reach. And while the world fights over tariffs, fossil fuels quietly reclaim their throne. But here's the thing. Crises create pressure, and pressure creates change. This moment will pass. The question is, what will we have built or destroyed by the time it does? If this video made you think, Share it with someone who needs to see it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.